and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 64 and we're starting on a different screen to usual. Now that's partly because this is where a lot of the action for the early part of the episode comes from, but also because we want to avoid any spoilers of how we've been getting on since. So if you are looking forward to a very mixed and interesting episode today, please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. There's links to all the playlists in the eye above, as well as my first attempt at a sort of in-depth behind-the-scenes special yesterday. We focused on our narrow diamond tactic at Bangor City, so hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you for your incredible support as always. But as the title suggests, we've got a lot to get involved with today, because we were decimated in the January window. You were back with me about halfway through it. It went yet further wrong after that. And to be fair, we've got to look at some of the replacements that have come in as well, because I wouldn't say it's money well spent, but I don't know what you guys will think. Certainly not in the immediate anyway. So let's start by having a look at that screen. The transfer history is the most important one in this episode. As you can see, 3 deadline day signings were basically the only first team additions. And as we knew from the last episode, there were loads of players going out. Ant Folwell, of course, being the star one at the end. And then towards the end of the window, they decided to sell Moussa Djenepo. Now, it's starting to go the wrong way in this save, as you can tell by the growth of Scottish football, which we've been a part of earlier in this series. Celtic have stolen one of our best Premier League players in Moussa Djenepo. £28.5 million, rising to nearly 40. It's a decent deal for a player in his late 20s, but he was our second best after Folwell. However, we did have a flurry on deadline day. Now, we'll probably never know whether these are the right signings or they were rushed ones, because we all know what the end of the January market's like. So let's look at the 3 players who have come in. All from abroad, interestingly, so no more of those young British signings like Ant Folwell was a few years ago to this club. The first one was from Newcastle, an English team though, and that is Dennis Dragus. £28 million rising to 39. 3-star ability, 3-star potential. Natural as a striker but can play off the left and in a number 10 role. He's good, but is he better than anyone else in the squad that could compete for those roles? I'm not quite sure. And I'm not sure he's the solution to Ant Folwell leaving the club. However, he was very quickly followed up by Mohamed Daramy. He comes in from Lille for just under £20 million. 3.5-star ability this time, 3.5 potential. Again, naturally a striker, but doesn't really have the finishing attribute. Doesn't have a lot of the skills running in behind or the technical skills. But he is brilliant as a winger. He's tricky, he's quick, he's agile, he's got good balance, good technique. And I feel like the Danish international could help us on the wings. Needs a little while to settle in yet. He's not going to hit the ground running. He's never played in England before. He doesn't speak the language fluently. But over time, I feel he could be a good signing. So for £20 million, I'm fairly happy with that one. And the final one was Fran Perez from Valencia. Again, £20 million up front, this time rising to nearly 30. He's a 24-year-old Spanish under-21 international. He's naturally a right winger, can play off the left as well. And he's more of a traditional winger. So I guess sort of the Djenepo replacement once we get him fit. 3.5-star, 4-star potential, still got room to grow. He's not done brilliantly in the games he's played, but again, doesn't speak the language, hasn't played in England before. He's going to take a while to develop. But overall, he could be our Djenepo. So the signings are all pretty decent. They're all going to improve the squad. But we've definitely not replaced the striker to the same standard. And in other positions, the lads are going to take a while to settle in. So certainly not immediate solutions to this massive fire sale. And our best 2 players have left the club. We can't be anything but disappointed. Now, despite all of that, we've had to soldier on, of course. So let's go and have a look at our recent results, because these boys have continued to deliver. You were with me as we beat Leicester and Leeds 1-0 in the last episode. We followed it up with another 4 games unbeaten. So a 1-1 draw away at Watford, where David Kovnacki from the penalty spot ended a goal drought. A 3-1 win at home to Cardiff, Kovnacki got a brace, and young Dominic Gosling wrapped it up with 10 to go. A 4-1 win at home to Everton. Evgen turned up with a hat-trick. I'm going to suggest that without the early red card at 1-0, we might not have won that game. But in the end, it was a comfortable victory. Into February, with the new signings, we drew 1-1 away from home at Wolves. Look who was the man who was the thorn in our side again. Viktor Siganov, the former West Ham man, now at Wolves and still causing us trouble. But a fellow Ukrainian, Sergei Volkov, was the man with the equaliser. We followed it up by resting everyone in a 5-0 defeat against Manchester United before what was a stunning victory. A 2-1 win against Tottenham. Kovnacki got the early goal. Tottenham got the equaliser. They were on the front foot. They were pushing us. And then Haidara turned up with 8 minutes to go and scored a rocket. Absolute legend. Brilliant player. And they continue to defy the odds. We did fall to a pretty disappointing defeat against Burnley last time. We just ran out of steam towards the end. And you can see I'm not really introducing a lot of the new boys yet. But these 2 games are very big ones for us. Brighton and Sheffield United, a real opportunity for us to get points on the board. You can see our final 3 games. We're not expecting much out of that. So the more we can get early, the better it is for our European chances. Because despite only 1 win in 4 games now, we're somehow still up in 4th place. 2 points clear with a game in hand. City have lost games. Whenever we were losing, like the Burnley game, they then lost 1-0 to Everton. Tottenham have been dropping points. Arsenal have had a shocking season. It's all really sort of helped us out and played into our hands, so we've got to be grateful for that. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to cling on to the top 4, and it would be a bit of an unrealistic dream if we did. But I'm certainly aiming at the top 7 now and a place in Europe next season. But of course, with the last 3 games, as we've mentioned, that is all going to ride on the next month or so. After a disappointing defeat away in the last game at Burnley, we've got to bounce back. So let's skip ahead to the first game against Brighton. And here we go. Warnings to close a couple down. Again, I keep getting tempted to bring in some of the new boys. Campese is having his first poor run of the season. There's a couple of others just starting to struggle a bit. But I don't know that a big overhaul is going to suit us at this time. So if you look at the bench, they're all there. Perez, Darami and Dragus. But do I take a risk with 1, maybe 2? I don't know. I'm going to leave it for now, but they can all come off the bench today if need be. We're going to watch it like a hawk, and if they need to come on, it will happen earlier than it has in previous games. What it does mean, though, is we stick with a very solid and consistent 11. Just really Evgen and Volkov both starting now that Djenepo's left. But otherwise, it's Odyssey's in goal. I still can't pronounce the name, don't worry about that. Walker-Peters and Bernardo the fullbacks with Salisu and Stark at centre-half. Haidara and Ward-Prowse in central midfield. Volkov, Evgen and Campese the 3 attacking men. And then in front of them is David Kovnacki. A few goals in recent games, but not part of the winning side too often. So let's hope he can do that today. Into the game we go. It's Southampton v Brighton. And this is a big one in our hunt for Europe. Who thought we'd be saying that at the start of the season? Here we are then. A lot of familiar names in this Brighton team. The likes of Dean Henderson in goal. They've got Lamptey still. Ben White still there. Callum McGregor in the middle. That's an odd one. They've got Lewis Binks, a very highly rated young player in game. And then on the bench, the likes of Luke Thomas is still there. Alexis McAllister is there at the start of the save. There's some good players in this squad. We're going to have to be very careful. There's no real pushovers for us. You've seen this season, most of the games we win are by 1 goal or 2 goals. We don't run away with them. Particularly without all the attacking stars now, we're not quite the same threat. So who's going to be the hero today? And we're back just a few minutes in as Evgen gives the ball away in central midfield. Campese closing to win it back and does just that in fairness. The defender misses the header for Brighton. Sort of a highlight full of errors from both sides. So long clearance as Kovnacki closes and it's into Callum McGregor. Through ball intercepted by Stark. He goes long downfield, intercepted by Borjan. And to be honest, this has been a very low quality highlight as Campese picks it up from the poor clearance, finds Haidara in the middle, surging forward, no pressure, goes wide to Volkov but he'd sort of misjudged it with his run. Delivered low though, Binks clears it away and eventually Brighton get it out the box, but it only reaches the left back Bernardo. He can counter down this side. They try to foul him, but he beats the challenge. Gets it into Campese. Back out to Bernardo again. Crosses in. Kovnacki's there. And David Kovnacki, he is not the best rated striker, but he is certainly stepping up to the party. Bernardo and Campese deliver down the left. They combine brilliantly. The left back crosses. And Kovnacki, bullet header. 1-0 Southampton. But we're back almost immediately with a Brighton throw on the left. Just 20 minutes in. And this looks like it could be a high-scoring game again, because we don't look convincing defensively. Bernardo makes a very good challenge there, though. Stayed on his feet and just went down at the right time to intercept the ball. The long clearance finds Volkov from the keeper. In the centre circle, he's drifting from right to left again. Loves dribbling, beats the challenge. He intercepted by a sliding tackle in the end, but it falls for Campese on the left, into Volkov, who'd made his way into the box. And it looked a pretty tame volley in truth. It certainly didn't have the beans behind it, but the keeper went down in instalments, and by the time he got to the bottom, Volkov's shot was in the back of the net. 2-0 Southampton, a good performance so far. We certainly haven't dominated the match, but the chances we've really made the most of. A ruthless first half from the Saints. But we got excited too soon because David Kovnacki has got an injury. So Dennis Dragus is available to come off the bench and he will get an extended appearance today. At half-time though, it is going to be 2-0 to Southampton. And that's about as good a first half we could have hoped for. Let's go and talk to the boys then. We'll be very happy if we can get back to winning ways. And we've got to say it with this side this year. How many times, I'd love to look actually after this, if we can hang on in this one. How many times have we lost 2 games in a row all season? We've given the ball away here and we're giving Brighton a chance to counter. As it stands, I might regret saying that. But Idara wins it back again. Ward-Prowse through. Dragus the new striker. Back to Campes. Good one too. And I don't doubt Dragus as a footballer. I'm sure he'll be great in a hold-up play. It's the centre-forward bits I'm worried about. As Ward-Prowse gets it to Haidara. Overlap from Dragus. He's in! And he scores his first goal for Southampton. And all of those fears can just be pushed to the side. A brilliant goal from Dragus. He was involved heavily in the build-up. And Southampton lead 3-0. What a stunning performance. And what a return to form. An hour on the clock. I think at 3-0... and with Evgen struggling with complacency, we can bring on another one of the new boys. So this time, it's going to be Fran Perez, who will come on the right wing. Volkov will replace Evgen in the middle. And then just looking at Campay's fitness, we'll give it 5 more minutes, and then we'll bring Darami on. The reason I'm leaving that till last is just because he changes the tactic as an inverted winger, and we don't want to lose our shape too early. As Bjorkan gets the ball on the left for Brighton. Solomon up to Moffey, the striker. Good play from Callum McGregor. They are still playing good football here, Brighton. They've just not created many chances, though Kuznetsov off the bench is one of their best. Gets in behind there, but his shot is wide and it is wayward, and in truth, it's pretty ugly as well. So Darami's going to come on the left-hand side. We will mark him as an inverted winger on support, and we'll just let him try and support the striker. Can we get a 4th and 5th? Can we make it something special? Because Brighton haven't really created a threat in this game, and that's something that really pleases us. Well, perhaps the changes in attacking areas did affect our fluency slightly. It didn't allow us to really go and hit them for 4, 5 or 6. But it was a great performance and we got them invested a little bit more in the way we played. They've got a bit more experience in it. And it's a great result for us. A 3-0 win against Brighton. It keeps us in that hunt for the top 4. And I don't really know how these boys are managing it. I know we're going to look in a later tactical special, but still, what a performance. What a comeback. And I'm going to go and look now before the second game how many times we've lost twice in a row this season. After that, we'll be back in 5 days' time. Because after the Sunday afternoon football, we've got a Friday night trip to Sheffield. We'll be back in a moment for that. We're back to face Sheffield United as we still try and stay in the hunt for a remarkable Champions League spot. Albeit the other 2 big sides behind us coming to the party now, they might come and spoil it. But the Europa League's starting to look very good. However, we've got something even more exciting at the moment. From a Southampton side that haven't been producing good youth intakes since we came into the club. Now, we said this was a mediocre group of players and we hoped there was going to be 1 star in there. But I would argue, if we go back and have a look at the news item on Monday, I'd argue this isn't a bad youth intake. There are 2 players who are listed as 4.5 star potential, including one of whom who's already got 1.5 star ability. And they're rating this as an average intake. I mean, this is starting to tell us a lot about what Southampton expect from theirs. There's 2 other players who have got 1 star ability, 3.5 potential. I mean, there's some real good quality here. So let's look at the 2 stars before we move on. We'll go in reverse order. So Michael McFarlane has arguably got the biggest potential by the looks of it, but he's got less ability at the moment. So 1 star ability, 4.5 potential, came through all the way at Southampton, and he's a right winger and striker. So he's a natural on the wing. He's actually not great in terms of attributes at the moment, but he's only sort of 15 and 8 months, so he's going to be improving a lot quicker as we move along. But he's certainly got all of the core attributes to become a success, and he's got an okay personality. So he's someone we could perhaps get very excited about. However, the main man here is Jasper Branch. Originally an Aston Villa youngster, 1.5 ability, 4.5 potential. Now, his 16 already is a bit older in terms of the development, nearly a year exactly actually. But he's got 15 for finishing, 15 dribbling, 15 acceleration, 14 pace, decent personality, decent composure. He looks like something else, honestly. What a set of players we've got there. Now, if you combine those 2 with another one in the under-18s already in Adam Brown, we're starting to look like we've got half a very good young team. There's some other ones in the 23s and the 18s who could make it. but we might have to start promoting next season. If the squad is smaller, then why not have some of these as backups, particularly with European football on the horizon. But let's go and get into the Sheffield United game, because that's a problem for later. That's a nice one to have for us for next year, a little headache perhaps. But in the meantime, we've got to get into our next game. David Kovnacki not had any sort of fallout from that injury in the last match, and everyone else played pretty well, so I'm going to leave the rest on the bench again. Dragas perhaps unlucky not to start after getting his first goal for the club last time, but then Kovnacki scored as well, and he was on the pitch for less time, so I have to give him a little bit of leeway. So we're going to stick with the same 11, the same 18 in full, and let's hope as we get into the away game at Sheffield United, we can avoid a third straight away defeat. We have only lost 2 games in a row once all season, but we have lost 2 away games in a row, and that's something that does concern me. So let's go off to Bramall Lane, Sheffield United the opponents. Fingers crossed, a positive result again. Well, this one's become nice and easy. No changes, no tactical instructions, some decent players in the Sheffield United team. Still the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, Stephen Bergwijn, Ross Barkley and Allen all made their way there. Joe Worrell, the centre-half, Jayden Bogle still there at right-back. They've still got Ollie McBurney on the bench, Matthias Ginter, another good player there. Now, we've struggled on the road since losing those stars because we haven't got the same pace on the break. We haven't got the same sort of individual brilliance. And perhaps that is why we're struggling on the road a little bit more. But at home, we've still been putting in good performances, and we've done well against the sides lower down in the division. So with Sheffield United in 14th place, let's see what we can do to them here. As Campese loses the ball almost immediately. Ross Barkley brings it out from the back. Only 3 minutes on the clock here, and what looks to be a little bit of a kick clash. As Worrell brings the ball out from centre-half. Goes back to Ramsdale, and a long punt downfield. Brought down by Suarez. Switches it brilliantly to Bergwijn. It was a lovely pass. And he beats Bernardo towards the byline. Chance to cross in. He's beaten him easily. Into the box, back to the edge. And it's cleared away via the block. Bernardo hoofs downfield. And with 5 gone, we survive at 0-0. It's goalless, but the first good chance to our hosts. And here we come again with a throw-in on the right. This time, can we avoid losing it high up the pitch? Haidara gets it from the right back to James Ward-Prowse. Kovnacki flicks it in. I was so sure he was in an offside position there, but he gets away with it. 9 minutes on the clock is a poacher's finish. And Kovnacki, for his very average championship rating, is scoring a goal a game at the moment. It's brilliant. And it's another chance for us to attack. All of the highlights seem to be starting with Southampton throw-ins. It eventually falls for Evgen 35 yards out. Switches right to Volkov. The header away is only as far as Haidara, and Walker-Peters can attack them again. Down the flank he goes, into the penalty area. Off Suarez, but it's back to him for a second time. Delivers early, and Campese gets there with a header. He just couldn't keep it down. It smashes the top of the crossbar. And it goes over for a Sheffield United goal kick. Again, they're lucky to survive that one. But it's been another good performance. Though we've got a corner to defend here. Rodriguez puts it in. That is terrible defending. We don't often concede poor goals like that. Simple 1-2s from set pieces. And Sheffield United back on level terms as a result. But on the brink of half-time, we've got a corner of our own. Ward-Prowse puts it in. Headed away as far as Jayden Bogle. Now they can counter here. They've got it up front, they go back into midfield, and Denis Suarez finds it to the left-hand side. Walker-Peters trying to work his way back. He's beaten too easily. Falls for Denis Suarez. It'd be criminal to go in behind at the break here. It's on the left-hand side though. The host looking good. The ball into the front post. And we are 2-1 down. It's the simple front post header again. And after a half of dominance and half an hour where we weren't even looking threatened, to 2 shots on target, 2 headers, and we go in behind 2-1. And this is the story of our recent games on the road. I've got to be honest. We're going to pump the fist. We're going to tell the lads to get out there and do it for the fans. But there is starting to become a concern away from home. The good news is there's only 4 more away games left. So hopefully it won't harm the season too much. As James Ward-Prowse picks the ball up just inside the final third. Gets it wide to Walker-Peters. Lovely diagonal. Crosses from the back post. And Bogle heads away as far as Bernardo. He's got a chance to cross from the byline though. Cuts it back towards Ward-Prowse 30 yards out. Through to Bernardo again. Lovely pass. Cuts it back. He had the chance to cross there. Really should have delivered it. No one wants to put it in the box. Ward-Prowse for a third time. That's the ball. And Neri Campese flicks it in. Again, I thought he was offside. It was a little guided backwards header. It was a lovely little flick over Ramsdale. And it's 2-2. The offside flag stays down. No VAR check. No problems at all. And no wonder kid's back in form. And we've got a corner kick again on the right-hand side. Ward-Prowse puts it in. Santiago heads away. It's as far as Evgen on the left side of the penalty box. Gets towards the byline. Delivers to Campes. Off the goal line. I don't even know if it was the keeper or the defender who blocked it. We've got to make some changes because Volkov has had an awful game. He's going to be replaced by Fran Perez. That'll be the only one for now. Campes on the left tired and not great despite the goal. So Darami will come on for him. And he will go as an inverted winger. And again, similar to the last game, Kovnacki scored but not had a good match. So Dragus on for him. He's broken that goal duck now, so are there going to be any more heroics? And as the assistant manager demands more, it's an Aaron Ramsdale goal kick. 13 minutes left on the clock. Sheffield United look content to hang on as Walker-Peters intercepts it to Perez. The new signing's got both new men in the box with him. Goes back to Haidara instead. And Ramsdale, he probably should have done better. But the sheer power on it from Haidara. The beautiful pick out from Fran Perez. And it's 3-2 to Southampton. We lead again. We're finding a way again. And it looks like the top four might well be on. City and Tottenham are chasing. But we're still giving as good as we get. As Bergwijn picks it up 30 yards out. Back to Rodriguez. 5 minutes for the host to get back into this. But Bernardo intercepts and finds Dragus. Can we break now? Darami's with him on the left. Stead goes alone. Dragus inside toward Prowse. Through ball to Fran Perez. And it's a great save by Ramsdale. Excellent football again. We look beautiful on the break at the minute. 90 seconds plus stoppage time to go. Bergwijn has it on the right for the umpteenth time. Back to Santiago, who finds Ramsdale the keeper. Long ball forward. Straight to Salisu though. Stark intercepts. Back to Odysseys. Chance to clear downfield. We don't want to play with it there. Fran Perez picks it up. Beats the winger. He's got a chance to pass. Instead tries to find Dragus. It wasn't the time for the Hollywood ball, I'm afraid. Though Walker-Peters, oh no, I was about to say he defended well. He gave it straight away. And Silas runs in unopposed to score. Awful from Walker-Peters. He'd done the hard work. He'd won the challenge. He turned away from the danger. And then didn't put enough on his 5-yard pass. But into stoppage time, we've got a corner kick again. Fran Perez loses out in the air. It's a thriller. It's goals galore away from home. Certainly that defensive record's gone, as Bogle tries to clear down the right. Instead gives it away. Oh, he's done the same. Dragus was left one-on-one. And Aaron Ramsdale with a brilliant stop. It's a corner kick. We're halfway through stoppage time. James Ward-Prowse takes it. Outswinger again. Worrell heads away. And is it finally going to calm down? Evgen gets there first. Finds Bernardo at centre midfield. Goes back to Darami on the left wing. And it finally does peter out. It finishes all square. Southampton 3, Sheffield United 3 at Bramall Lane. We really should have won it. It's a poor mistake by Kyle Walker-Peters. But some promising signs from the new men. Fran Perez with a good assist and some threat on the break. But it's 2 points dropped in the grand scheme of things. So let's finish off by having a look at the schedule. These final 2 games of the season could be massive. Of course, we've got to play the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool in between. But we've also got Derby and West Brom at home, which really we should be winning. But it's interesting what happens when pressure's on. We got the Derby away from home as well. And then the final 2 games of the Premier League season are 5th place Manchester City at home and 8th place Arsenal on the road. City 6 points behind us with a game in hand. Surely they'll be in the ascendancy by then. But if we're fighting with them and we can take it to the wire, it could be one hell of an occasion. But given what we were fighting for last season on the final day of the year, I think we'll be happy to be fighting for top 4 or top 7. It's a brilliant moment really. We stayed up by virtue of a goal 7 minutes from the end of last season that avoided us getting relegated to the Championship. And look at that table now. I'm not sure how we're doing it, having lost all of our stars, but we are still doing it. But if you're looking forward to seeing that final episode of the season, you did enjoy this one and the youth intake as well, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. You can catch up with my first ever sort of insight behind the scenes special yesterday. That one focused on the narrow diamond tactic, and I'll put a link to that and all the other playlists in the eye above, as well as the podcast channel, which is growing really quickly. So thank you as always for your incredible support. I'm glad you're still enjoying the story. And hopefully you'll be back for the final games of the Premier League season. It's just as dramatic as last year, but it's definitely the right end of the table to be fighting at. We can enjoy this one with a bit less pressure. Will we be in Europe next season? Join me next time to find out.